Agriculture equipment, manufacturing equipment, heavy industry equipment will all be agentic.
The winner of the edge is going to be the winner of the AI race.
You just heard it from two of the most important chip CEOs on the planet. Jensen is telling all of us that AI is about to run everywhere and on everything that you own. And Cristiano, the CEO of Qualcomm, well, he just told you what that actually means for your money. Whoever wins the edge wins the entire AI race. So let me put a number on why that is such a big deal. The AI data center build-out, the part that everybody already knows about, is growing more than 25% a year. And the spending behind it is heading toward $5 trillion by 2030, which I personally think is a little bonkers. But that is only the first chapter of this story. Those giant data centers, well, that's where all that AI is going to get built and trained. But the next chapter, that's going to be the chips that run AI out here in the real world, on your devices. And those edge AI chips are forecast to grow even faster than the data center, north of 30% a year, with those custom-built ones growing even faster. Because for AI to reach the next level, the level that changes your car, your phone, your home, and of course your job, it has to leave the building and come to you. And that is exactly where the next wave of explosive investment growth is going to begin. And that's exactly what edge AI really means. Instead of shipping everything up to a data center and waiting for an answer, the intelligence runs right there on the device, the chip that's inside your phone, inside your car, the camera on the wall, and of course the robot that's on the factory floor. It is faster, it is more private, and it does not need the cloud to think, and that shift is just now getting started. So today, I'm going to walk you through the companies that actually own that shift, the ones that are building the brains, the eyes, and the muscle of edge AI. And thankfully, we've been seeing some nice pullbacks in the market, which provide a lot more opportunity for the rest of us to buy a lot of these names at better prices. Hey, but before we jump into the stocks, if you're getting any value from my research or my videos, please consider pressing the like button so my content continues to grow. And if you're interested in my entry points or any of my stock trades, then please feel free to join the community on Patreon. And the first one on the list is Calix. And to see why it belongs in an edge video, think about where the edge of the internet actually is. It happens to be the gateway box your home Wi-Fi runs through, the front line of edge computing. And Calix builds the software platform that runs on those gateways for internet providers across the country. Now with an AI layer that runs intelligence at the edge instead of at a distant data center. And the story underneath is the one that should really grab you. For its entire first decade as a public company, Calix never even turned a profit. It lost money every single year. Then it flipped the entire model. It stopped being a box seller and it became a recurring revenue software platform. And since that turn, revenue has more than doubled while the gross margin climbed from the mid-40s to a record near 57%, which is obviously software company territory. The most recent quarter set yet another revenue record, and every new internet provider that signs on pays Calix for every subscriber and every single month. So a company that lost money for a decade is now quietly compounding on the edge of that network. I think it's pretty obvious that edge AI is the next wave for investments, but an easier AI investment is obviously in yourself, because workers with AI skills are now demanding a 62% wage premium over those who don't. And that brings us to today's sponsor of Outskill, where they provide the Claude AI Mastery Workshop. It's a full deep dive into Claude, its real use cases, and 10 plus other AI tools. And it's all happening this weekend, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern. And they have been generous enough to make this free of cost to my audience. So please go ahead and register down in the link in the bio, where over 10 million people worldwide have already attended this, and it's rated a solid 4.9 out of 5 on Trustpilot. So if you're serious about Claude, then you're not going to want to skip this. In 2 days, you'll get deep research with Claude. You're going to build your own artifacts and dashboards, create full presentations, set up connectors to automate the boring stuff like your entire job search, get hands-on with Claude Code, build custom agents, generate visuals and videos with AI, and walk away able to put your whole week on autopilot. Sign up now and you also get 3 free bonuses: 50 secret Claude codes that turn it into a God-tier tool, a full AI prompt library, and a personalized AI toolkit builder. And the best part is that you're going to be mentored by leaders from Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Nvidia. What you learn in 2 days is probably going to change your next 2 years. Sign up now before they sell out. The link is down in the description. You can scan the QR and join join the WhatsApp community before seats close. Now, I realize the next company is completely obvious as Nvidia, and of course you all know them as the company powering every AI data center on Earth. But the reason why they belong in Edge AI is what they are building to push that intelligence into machines that actually move. It's called Jetson Thor, the on-robot brain, small enough to ride inside a humanoid, carrying about 7 times the compute of the chip that it replaced. And on top of it sits their Isaac software and a family of robot foundation models called Groot that teach a machine how to see and how to move. And the names already building on it read like the entire field: Amazon Robotics, Boston Dynamics, Figure, and Caterpillar. And of course, now look what it had turned into. Nvidia's annual profit has multiplied more than 40 times in 6 years. 6 years ago, this company earned under $3 billion in a year. And in its most recent year, it earned $120 billion while holding a gross margin above 70%. That is one of the greatest runs in the history of business. And the robotics piece is the next engine being built while that machine just keeps on building. Now on to the next company of Ambarella, and they are the purest bet there is on Edge AI vision. The chip that lets a camera, a drone, or a robot actually see the world and decide on the device itself, with absolutely no trip to the cloud. While almost everyone else has Edge AI as a slice of something bigger, Ambarella is the rare name where roughly 80% of their revenue genuinely is Edge AI. They have shipped more than 46 million of these vision chips into the field, an installed base nobody can conjure overnight. And they just signed a decade-long agreement with Hanwha to build Hanwha's security and robotics products around Ambarella's silicon. Their newest CV7 chip pushes 8K vision with more than double the AI performance of the generation before it. Now, the honest read on the numbers is this: Ambarella is a pure play still investing hard for growth. So it's not throwing off big profits, well, at least not yet. But the business just reaccelerated, with revenue growing about 37% in the past year, while the operating losses are narrowing quickly. So you own this one for where Edge Vision is heading, knowing the earnings are still a little bit ahead of it. Let's now move on to Renesas, the world's largest maker of the microcontrollers that quietly run everything inside your car, from the engine to the dashboard, now putting real on-device AI into that same silicon. Renesas just built the first automotive chip ever made on a 3-nanometer process, the RCAR X5H, and it delivers up to 400 trillion AI operations per second, while pulling roughly 35% less power than the chip before it. That happens to be a supercomputer for a car, and Bosch and ZF, two of the biggest names in the entire auto parts world, well, they're already designing on top of it. The underlying business is genuinely profitable, running operating margins in the high teens. And Renesas bought the design software maker Altium and the Edge AI startup Pictoris to own the whole workflow, from the software that a customer designs it with, all the way down to the chip that it runs on. The most recent headline showed a loss, but that was a one-time write-down on a silicon carbide investment. It's not really the business itself. And just a quick note for you, here in the States, it only trades over the counter, so it is a little bit harder to buy. And now we get to move on to Broadcom. And you know them as the custom AI chip giant powering the data centers all around us. Those custom chips are what the industry calls ASICs, silicon built for the customer's exact workload, and Broadcom designs them for the biggest cloud names on Earth. The only other real player is Marvell, but Broadcom is the clear leader today, building around 60% of the world's custom AI chips. And the financial transformation underneath it is really striking. Over the last 5 years, Broadcom's profit has gone up roughly 8 times, and its operating margin has climbed from 17% to 40%. So the company keeps nearly twice as much as every dollar that it brings in. Broadcom just put a dedicated AI engine inside the Wi-Fi router and home gateway, the first Wi-Fi 8 chip with its own neural engine. So the inference happens right inside the box in your house, with a 5G platform built alongside Samsung. That edge line is still pretty small next to the data centers of today, but it plants Broadcom at the front of the network edge, while a profit machine compounds right underneath it. All right, the next company is Mobileye, the purest way there is to own automotive edge vision, because while everyone else bolts AI onto the dashboard, Mobileye builds the IQ chip that is the eyes and the reflexes of the car, running every camera frame inside the car itself. And the scale here is pretty staggering because IQ is already built into more than 230 million vehicles on the road, which quietly makes Mobileye one of the most widely deployed pieces of AI hardware on the planet. And the story for them is a bit of a turn, because a giant one-time write-down buried their numbers. And thankfully, it's just now clearing out. While revenue is climbing again, up roughly 27% in the most recent quarter, as IQ volume comes roaring back in. And Mobileye just stopped being only the chip supplier, and they started standing up its own robotaxi fleet, owning and operating the cars itself. The one risk I'm not going to gloss over is structural, because Intel still controls a large block of these shares and can choose to sell them into the market at any time. But that install base is so huge that it is a huge moat that most rivals can't even come close to touching. And that now brings us to the next company of Cohu, the one nobody really thinks about until a chip fails. Because every edge chip in the world, every processor, every sensor headed into a car, none of it ships until it has been tested and proven. And Cohu sits right at the gate. This is a cyclical name, and right now you're catching it as the cycle turns. Orders just jumped roughly 57% year over year. The kind of move you only see when the whole flood of edge and automotive silicon starts rolling across its equipment again. And the reason it sticks is the recurring side, because once Cohu's handlers are installed on a production line, the spares and the services just keep paying it for years. And that piece now runs nearly 60% of their business. Its Eclipse platform is now winning the test slot for high-performance AI processors at major names, which pulls Cohu off the automotive island and straight into the compute story. It is the most edge-true tester out there, and right now we're starting to catch it on the turn. These 7 stocks that I'm covering, that's only scratching the surface of what edge AI means. There are so many incredible companies that are going to be winning on edge AI that it's going to take me a couple more videos to just cover them all. And of course, as AI just keeps moving out of the data centers and onto your devices in your hands, the experience gets faster, it's more personal, and it's more local. And it's evolving so fast that the devices that we're going to be carrying in 5 years from now are probably well beyond what we're already thinking of. And that's the exact wave that I want to stay ahead of. Hey, as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.